you guys have an amazing story. Two Men in a Truck has been on our awards list for 15 plus years. Obviously, you guys have great franchisee satisfaction. I guess I have kind of two questions in there, but what do you guys do differently, that just, keeps your franchise partners so satisfied?
Yeah, and it's hard to believe it's for 15 years consistently being mentioned or ranked, but it is one of our most impactful ways to get feedback is through the business review survey that's done. It's independent, it's completely up to franchisees to complete, and to continue to get the feedback we do really just helps us continue to change and grow. And so I guess as we look back, some of the things that we focus on or try to make sure we're continually talking about with our teams internally is really just starts with trust. And, when you're working in franchising, it's about that relationship you build each and every day with everyone involved in the brand. But, you have to be genuinely intentional with building a relationship with folks and being that trusted advisor when there's a question or when there's a situation that we haven't run into before, that they think of our teams first, to pick up the phone and call. And that's why we're there, to help consult and help continue to grow Two Men in a Truck. But trust is important, and it's one of the things we have to talk about. But you also got to do what you say you're going to do. And that's something that we pride ourselves in. And we're working with franchisees, responding back quickly, bringing, second to trust is value. There's a reason people buy into a brand or buy into franchising as a model itself is to grow something. And, we want to reaffirm that decision every day for somebody that's going to invest their livelihood or put the faith in the brand like Two Men in a Truck, that we're continuing to develop our skill sets, develop our programs, our projects, new services that are going to bring value back to, somebody that's going to come in and invest into our system. And then lastly, it's just appreciation. It goes a long way. And if anything 2020 taught us, it's the value of time, but second, you got to stay positive. And, we send out so many correspondences in just a positive, recognizing, great things that are happening in the operation. I think we sent over 1,000 letters or emails this past year. And you never know what one message or one simple email may do to somebody's trajectory for that day. And so when you look at, what we try to strive for, it's being that trusted advisor. It's really focusing on value and what we're bringing every day. And at the end of the day, showing appreciation and empathy for what goes on in a small business each and every day, from just the sheer hard work it takes to run one of the franchises.
Yeah. Kind of the second part of that question is, I think you guys have been in the franchise world a while and very active in the International Franchise Association. And, when we look back at what Franchise Business Review does and the elite group of companies that, just show up on our awards list year after year after year, I think a lot of franchise leaders talk about, satisfaction and trust and, values and all this stuff, but, very few are successful in, actually delivering on that. And, so when you think about what you guys are doing, what is there anything unique about how you're actually delivering on that? Or, where do you think other companies fail? So, don't make it.
Yeah, I think, one thing I don't know how we've learned this, but it's been through a lot of the storms we faced in business over the years. But, you have to be intentional. I think you have to be, really intentional, waking up each day, wanting to work on it, wanting to be aware of what our franchisees are going through. You have to be intentional with your communication. Gosh, 2020 taught us the value of not just being consistent with communication, but being able to connect even, in a virtual environment. And so
right.
You can't always be reactive to try and get things done. You have to do your best to try and overcome. Yeah, there's going to be fires you have to, go put out each day and respond to, but you also have to be proactive with the strategy and your convictions and just your principles of what you're going to go do, whether it be for that day, that week, that month. And I think that's something we're very proud of as a team. Is we're very intentional with clearly defining what those priorities are going to be, but also making sure every day we're busy working on projects at our corporate team. We've got 190 plus folks working every day, but you can get really busy, caught up in projects and forget, hey, oh my gosh, we just did, several thousand moves today. And how did we do on those? And what did we run into, or what issues did franchisees need to overcome? And so, the lessons we've learned is, talk is out there, but most importantly, it's your behaviors and making sure you're doing what you say you're going to do. And the thing I love about this, the survey and everything we get from Franchise Business Review is just the feedback. And it's unintentional. It's nothing on us. It's a third party survey that goes out. So we take that and we learn from it, and we listen and we respond to it. And it's probably the simple but not easy message.
Right,
it's pretty simple on paper to say, yep, we're going to do this, and we're going to put this project out there, and we're going to listen, and we're going to communicate. But then the hard work comes when you actually have to do it, especially during times of distress. And I think that's something we're very proud of, is we focus there first. We welcome the challenge. We welcome that's what makes us better. We don't run from it. I think our franchisees appreciate that.
Yeah. That leads really well into my next question about hard work. And, obviously what you guys do at corporate is amazing to help support your franchisees. But as small business owners, franchisees have, it's hard work to operate a small business. And a lot of people, I think, are attracted to small business ownership. They know business owners in their life that have been very successful, and they see the lifestyle that they have. And so it's easy to be like, yeah, I want to own a business too, but they don't necessarily realize how hard that is to pull off. So, when you're talking to candidates, and especially when you're talking about a 2-man and a truck franchise, I mean, moving is a complicated thing. It's an emotional thing. I'm sure there's a lot that can go wrong in a move. How do you set expectations with candidates to be like, yes, this is a great business model and a great business to own, but it does require a lot of hard work.
Yeah, like you mentioned, it starts right up front during the candidate experience with 2 Men in a Truck, and going through that kind of discovery process of folks discovering all about 2 Men in a Truck, and us at the same time discovering who this individual is. And so we're very, I guess I use that word again, intentional with being upfront, and just making sure they understand what what they're getting into, what franchising is. There's pros and cons of franchising, just like there's pros and cons of a lot of different business models out there. But it really starts with that clear communication to talk through that and say, yep, there's going to come a time where there's going to be a situation where you might not be happy with corporate or a decision that's coming down, and it's on us to be able to explain why. But at the end of the day, can we continue to move forward and continue to work on the brand? And how would you respond to a situation if this happened? And we talk through that, because it's important to kind of have those conversations early to help clarify some potential scenarios that may come up just based on our experience, and over time to say, hey, how would you handle this? And it's going to be challenging. There's going to be tough days. Like you mentioned, sometimes people see somebody in a business and they think they've always been there, and they forget they started with initial first year of operation has been challenging, and they had to go through so much, and they still have to manage so much responsibility and risk and working with people every day. But really, we try to educate them on the challenges. And then secondly, we encourage them to talk to as many franchisees in our system as we possibly can. And, obviously there's an important reason for that, just from building camaraderie with a network of franchisees, but also asking them, what they love about working within the system and as being a business owner. What are they challenged with the most on a daily basis? And, and we always say, hey, just, would you, all things said and done, would you do it again? And, I think that's a validating question to ask somebody that's been in our system 10, 15, 20 years, to say, yeah, all things considered, the ups and downs of business, are you bringing, you feeling that fulfillment, but also would you do it again? And so, from that, we really work with our experience, and we're very data driven at 2 Men in a Truck too, of sharing objective, just information as they're going along, as they're opening their office, to look at objectable goals that are out there, to challenge them in the same way, but also use our history to our advantage to say, yeah, here's some standards that we see first 6 months, first 12 months, based on your market, based on, what you're projecting, your experience. What do you think you could do? And it's just that conversation. And then that leads to us putting those goals on paper and then working our tails off to go achieve it. But
right,
we don't really sell anything at 2 Men in a Truck. And it's all about, transparency. It's really sharing the genuine challenges. It's letting others be the voice too for Two Men in a Truck International, which is, you know, the franchisees and what they're doing. And then ultimately, hopefully that individual can take all that information and say, yep, this is what I'm looking for. I understand it, but I also know here's what we want to set out for the year or 6 months, whatever that time frame is going to be from the goals we're going to set. Now let's go after it.
You guys do some great work. So congrats to that, and look forward to watching you accomplish what you're going to accomplish in the next 10 or 15 years.
Well, we appreciate all your support and just everything you've done to really just create the mechanisms to really get better. And I think ultimately I look at that, it's building relationships, but it's also taking feedback, you know, with what you help provide. And it's like, that's just so important to us, because it's truly great feedback we can take and learn from, especially from our franchisees that are, you said, working so hard every day. If they take the time to fill out a survey or just give feedback, or just through the recognition of what you help, you know, share with franchise brands, we're all better for it. So we appreciate your help too.
Thank you. Well, that was great, Randy. I appreciate it.